Hey, I'm Danny with Retro Camera Review, and today we're going to be looking at Impossible Project film and cameras. Now, if you're like me, being a die-hard analog photographer, you know that there's really no way to get your instant gratification fix except for a film like Polaroid, which, since it ran dry, we haven't had any until Impossible Project came by and started making their own film from scratch. They were nice enough today to lend me some fresh film to test out, and I just wanted to say thanks for that, and thanks for showing your customers that you really stand by your product. Now, I brought two cameras for us to look at. I've got the green, bubbly, plasticky 600 Express, and I've got the more professional all-metal SX70. This is the 600 camera. It's fairly simple and easy to use. It features mainly auto functions, but there's a few manual settings you can control. It's got a light and dark switch for exposure. It has two focusing options, 2 feet to 4 feet close-up, and also 4 feet to infinity. So it's not really good for very good close-ups. It's got a built-in auto flash that you can use, but you have the option of not using it because you have a dual trigger exposure button here, yellow being for the flash and black being for no flash. Overall, I like this camera a lot because it's really unintimidating. It almost looks like a green turtle or something like that, and people won't take you very seriously when you're using it. And I find that really works well for candid shots and unsuspecting people. Now, this is the SX70 camera. It's actually very similar to the 600 in terms of the images it creates, except for two main things. You have a lot more control with it because it's an SLR with manual focus, and it can go a lot closer in on your focusing, and also it has a glass lens. It's going to be able to produce a lot sharper image, so for the more discerning photographer, this is the camera you're going to want to go with. I like this camera a lot more simply because it is an SLR, and for more serious work, I can go to this. The one thing I don't really like about it, though, is when you look through the viewfinder, it's really hard to actually see straight through the image. It's kind of like a telescope where your eye has to be in just the right spot to see the image. So that's kind of a little cumbersome when you're trying to work fast, which is when I usually grab the 600. Now, you notice that both cameras either have a black flap or a black frog tongue that comes out to cover the film. That's because the film is light sensitive. I talked to Impossible about this, and they said that they're actually very successfully working on a new type of film that is not light sensitive out of the camera. I don't know when that's coming out, but I know that it's going to be something in the near future, and I'm really excited to know more about that. The closer I can get to the way it was, the better. As far as the film goes, by Impossible Project, it's just as beautiful as the Polaroid film, and if not, a little bit more varied because they provide the black and white as well. And if you're watching this, you kind of know already why you want to shoot Polaroid or Impossible film, because you want to recapture that beautiful look that you got when you were shooting it before. Now, the only real conflict I see with Impossible Project is the contrast between the cameras and the type of film you're using. You're using cameras with auto exposure that are designed for vacations and casual shooting, yet the film you're using is on the very professional price range from $20 to $25 for 8 shots. So when you're pumping out these pictures, it's a little disheartening to see money flying out of the camera. Eventually, I think they're going to be able to lower their prices, but I don't know when that's going to happen. And so until they either develop a more professional camera to use with their film or they lower the cost, I think it's going to be kind of hard for a lot of people to justify the cost of the camera. So that's really my only gripe, though. So to sum up, Impossible Project has a lot going on. It sounds like they keep on making their stuff better and better. It really just ends up being up to you to justify whether the expense is worth the images you want to create. For me, it's worth it. It's still expensive, but I'm willing to put up the cost to create those kinds of images. This has been a Retro Camera Review, and I'm Danny, and thanks for watching.